Hey planner friends, welcome back to April's monthly setup. This is going to be a little bit different than last month, so if you missed last month, I'll be sure to link the video here, and I actually went through it with you. This time I went ahead and set everything up. This is the way I set up the month, and I have actually started to use my planner different. So before business planning, I used a different planner and planned them separately. It's really hard to keep up with two planners. I don't know how people do it. So I have decided to incorporate everything that I am going to do for business into the monthly spread of this planner. It's, I think, going to make it a whole lot easier. So that's why you see a whole bunch of different things on here this week. This month is a pretty busy month. I've got my daughter's graduation, her graduation party. Of course, we've got Easter, yay, and then my daughter has prom also. So I'm just going to go quickly through what I wrote into these things and how I'm using it and everything like that. So of course, we've got the verse up here, and this month's verse is all about the God who sees me. And so instead of writing a prayer or how I've seen God do that in my life, this time I'm going to actually use this section for this area for people who I feel need to see that God sees them. They're in hard situations right now, and so I'm praying that they feel seen by God. So up here at the prayer list, I've got underground churches, our government leaders, and I have open doors in our neighborhood. This month, it's got 3 individual areas. I decided to lump them all together because this main focus is establishing a new morning routine that does not include my phone and includes movement. So remembering God's faithfulness, God showed up for us in a huge, miraculous way on March 8th. My daughter and I were headed to San Antonio. It was raining. She was driving. It was not raining when I let her drive, but she was driving and she lost control of the car, and we cut off an 18-wheeler. When she went like this, we cut off an 18-wheeler. We almost hit 2 cars from behind, almost hit 2 concrete barriers because we were doing literally spirals across I-35. And then we zoomed back this way and we almost went underneath the wheels, the back wheels of a gravel semi 18-wheeler truck. And we both screamed out at the same time, God, please help us, save us. And our car literally turned back towards the opposite direction, facing the opposite direction of traffic, and stopped straight on. And then we were almost hit. A car zoomed around us, a blue truck. That was a miracle upon miracle upon miracle. So I will never forget that March 8th day was a pivotal moment in my life. It's one of those those days that will always be embedded in my mind. So I'm looking to share hope by serving during this Easter service and sending a text to someone who desperately needs some hope in their life. Surrendering more of this. I casually scroll for enjoyment, guys, and it wastes too much time. It adds up very quickly. And then I want to surrender more of my phone in the morning. So I've created, and I'll show you in a minute, I've created a new morning routine, and I'm going to use my habit tracker to try to keep me. So I want to see more of this, Redeeming Productivity. That is a book that I am reading. It is great so far. I just started reading it, but it is great so far. It's all about aligning your productivity with God, because ultimately He's the one that's building the fruit in you. And then I want to seek more steps on my walking pad that I just got and unpacked yesterday. And then I also want to seek more encouraging videos that I can do to encourage others. I'm believing God for a certain business direction that I'm taking and a trademark. So that is my monthly overview. Now let's jump into the actual monthly setup, and that is right. Yes. Okay. So I went through here, and I'll just kind of quickly go through the overview. I did go through this with you in last month's video, but I feel like it's just quicker to kind of go over it with you now. So my greatest accomplishment was finishing Renewing the Mind Bible Study. I recorded several YouTube videos and got ideas for more. What made them great? Well, even on the busy days, He gave me the marginal room, the marginal time that I would need to write, and He gave me speed. I was able to write quicker than many days. So I also have more excitement about YouTube. That is not an area that I am like really comfortable in. And so I have relied on God's strength, and I do feel like He is giving me that ability in a greater depth. Let's see, ponder last month's obstacles. Well, my little pup had surgery and it did not go as planned. She had basically drain tubes that were sticking out of her. There were a total of 6 that we had to care for, and so it just did not go as planned. It took a lot more time than I expected, but going on to question 4, it was uncontrollable. So it just required a lot of additional time that I did not anticipate. And then number 5, weigh and study last month's story, remembering that each day is a page in your life's book. So last month, I think even though it had challenges, it was really well. It went really well, and I got a lot done. So moving on to redirect, we're going to change course, modify, pivot. Number 1 is based on last month's challenges. What are some specific things that did not work as you anticipated. Well, I didn't get Renewing the Mind designed. I got it written, so that's a huge plus because it takes a lot of time to write. So that was the most time-consuming thing, but I still got it completed. So identify what was within your control and those things beyond your control. What spiritual lesson can you learn from these? And so I wrote down that even when things don't go as planned, we have the ability to see God do things that we did not expect. So let's move on over here. Number 3, retracing the areas in which you excelled, what stands out. These are pivotal. So I had certain days that I focused on one task and I bulk processed on those days. And I think that went really well. I've heard it over and over again. When you bulk things, it goes faster. And so it makes sense, right? But establishing that is kind of hard. So then the next section is reset, uproot, remove, shift, revise. Okay, so utilizing the discovered information, what 3 things can you infuse into this month's goal? You're going to uproot distractions, remove dead ends, shift focus, and revise your direction. So number 1 is block schedule. I am going to block schedule things in the morning time when I have the most energy. And number 2 is I'm going to create a morning routine that flows better than the one that I'm doing now. And number 3, this one is super important to me. It is establish a CEO meeting with God each Monday. So a CEO meeting, obviously, I run this company. I'm the owner of the company. However, God is my supervisor. He is my CEO. So I want to have a meeting with him every single week, praying and brainstorming and listening and asking him his direction for the week ahead. So I'm pretty excited about that. I mean, I do that just not on a dedicated day and time and basically meeting minutes, if you will. Okay, so my moments of gratitude, March 8th, of course, that was a life-changing event that I am actually eternally grateful for because we had just been talking about why the American church doesn't seem to see the miracles, the huge miracles that churches in other third world countries and persecuted countries see. And so literally 10 minutes later, we have that encounter where God saved us over and over and over again. And the moment we screamed out, it's like he stopped the car. My daughter even accidentally, she's only 17, so she's been driving very well, and so it was very traumatizing for both of us, but we also know without a shadow of a doubt that it was God who protected us. We literally were within feet of going underneath the backside of a 18-wheeler that was going, who knows, 70 miles an hour. But the fact that we can now talk about it and say, I have seen the miracles of God, that was just one of those days in my life that's like forever stamped into my memory. And then a moment of gratitude, we were actually headed to San Antonio to celebrate my nephew, who is also 17. He was run over by a truck and almost died. Actually, at multiple times he almost died. And so he just got out of rehab, and we were going down there to celebrate his life and his increase in mobility because he had multiple strokes and many different things. And so he's paralyzed on one side of the body. And so he's actually gaining that back. And so I am so beyond grateful for just seeing, again, the miracle of God. I mean, that is another miracle that I have witnessed with my eyes. Okay, so let's rate last month's success. For me, it was a 10. What did yours look like? And if yours was not great, be sure to extend yourself grace and remember that there is always next month. Okay, this month's focus for me is getting a better handle on the YouTube process. It takes a lot to create these videos. So just getting a process down, kind of a workflow, if you will, going to be a key for this next month. And then to finish designing the Renewing the Mind and starting the new prayer Bible study that I'm going to be writing. The verse for reflection is, let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. And that comes from Galatians 6:9. And so my prayer for refining is that I dedicate this month to doing all that I can within my human power to do the good works that God has established for me. And I'm asking him where I'm weak, that he will be my strength. And if I venture out of my lane, because that's easy to do, I ask that he nudges me back into my lane and that my eyes are kept centered and focused on him. Okay, so then after I did all of this, I came over here and I wrote out my action plan. So these are just some of the things that I plan on doing for this next month. My word for the month is enthusiastic. I'm pretty excited about several things that are going on. And then notes, I just wrote down a few things from last month. Last month's plan went really well. I do need to be more intentional about how I spend those small pockets of time because they really do add up. And so some of these came from goals, which I hope to do a goal video in the next next week or so because I am actually going off of quarterly goals now. There's a book that I would highly recommend, and it's called 12-Week Year, I think is what it's called, but it's really good. And that's what I plan on doing. That's what I did for this last quarter, and that's what I plan on doing for the future. It just creates this greater time constraint. So you're only choosing like 2 to 3 goals to have within the quarter. Okay, let's move on to my habit tracker. So this month, I'm actually going to use it to track a new morning routine that I'm trying to set up for myself. It's wake up at 4:30. I already kind of do this sometimes. I tend to struggle with insomnia, and so I wake up early mornings, and sometimes I'm unable to go back to sleep. But I am planning on going to bed earlier and waking up at 4:30. I love the morning hours. So then right when I wake up, I'm going to take my meds, and because I'm on thyroid medicine, I cannot drink or eat anything for at least 30 minutes. So I'm going to spend that time in my prayer closet. So the night before, I will have to have my prayer Bible and my prayer journal set up and ready to go in there. And then from there, after I pray, I'm going to leave my phone. I'm never going to pick up my phone. That's one of the key things about this month, is not picking up my phone from the moment that I wake up on. So setting my alarm, turning it off, and leaving my phone alone for the morning. So I'm going to leave my phone, I'm going to go make coffee, and while my coffee is making, because I'm using a French press, I'm going to allow that to sit there, and then I'm going to come in here into my office, write down the gratitude, fill out the tracker for the day before. Once I get my coffee, I'm going to sit down and do my Bible study and my journal time. My husband should be up by that point going to work, and so I'm going to make the bed at that moment. Then I will grab my phone, go work out, and when I come home, I'm going to spend those first chunks of time, which I have a lot more energy, of course, after I get a shower, but working on writing. Because there's a high need for attention, I'm going to do that early in the morning before I do anything else. So that is my routine that I'm wanting to set up over the next month, and that is what I'm going to be tracking. Really want to get this into a morning routine, especially to put God first by just prayer, and then just writing down gratitude, and then going straight into my Bible study time. Now, obviously, this may not work for many, and in fact, it may not work for most, but this is what I'm doing for this month, and so I want to be able to track it and kind of boost myself, my desire to stay in this routine by tracking it, seeing it, and filled out. So then the other thing that I did before, I forgot to do this, but before I filled all of this in, I went back here to my this month's, and I looked over it. I checked off what didn't get done, or checked off what did and didn't get done. And I actually forgot to check this part off. So I did do a Bible study one. I just haven't edited it. So I was able to do that. And then this is how my month went. And this is only the 29th, so I haven't gotten to filling today's out. So I think that's it in a nutshell. That is my April setup ready to go. I would love to see yours or hear your tips, tricks, any way that you're using yours differently. I hope that was helpful for you. Just leave me a comment below on what you'd like to see in the future, and I hope that I can get to it. God bless you, friends.